Hello, and welcome to another special edition of Sports Card ASMR. I'm the Sports Card Doctor. Today, we are going to let you relax with some exciting baseball facts and stories and more from a pack of cards that we're about to choose. Let's dive in, shall we? But first, some crinkles. If you've arrived at this channel looking for baseball facts and stories, don't worry, we'll get to them, but this is a ASMR channel, which means we're going to crinkle up first. Do this for all the crinkle heads out there, for IMU as well. Today we're going to go into this pack of 1991 Topps. It's an instant win vintage Topps card inside, or an offer for it, plus a sweepstakes. Ooh, total prize value $1 million. Get it? It's a reference to a pop culture thing from this decade. Okay, I'll stop. Let's get to the cards. We're here for the cards, everybody. We're here for the cards. Get serious about the cards. Okay, here we go. The cards. We must be serious about the cards. Of course, every pack of Topps, the famous gum. We're not going to eat it. We're just going to snap it. What is in this pack of cards? If you watched the previous video where we went through a pack of cards, we got a Jose Canseco card, the Gold Cup Rookie 87 Topps. Well, now here we are a few years ahead in Jose's career. At this point, coming off his 1990 season, still the heart, part of the heart, I should say, of Oakland's Bash Brothers lineup. 1990 was a good year for the 40-40 man from 88. 37 home runs, 101 RBI, about a 274, which was respectable for him. Even 2 triples. This notes that Jose belted a home run into the 5th deck the Sky Dome in the 1989 ALCS. I was watching that game, mostly because I was rooting for Ernie Witt, the Blue Jays catcher, but quite the bomb from Canseco. Look at that, starting the pack off strong. But we don't stop there at the Legends, we go deep here. Barry Jones was a relief pitcher for the White Sox, obviously, as shown on the card here, but he did start with the Pirates. I do remember Barry Jones quite well. And you look at Barry Jones and you don't think, well, that's a top-notch major leaguer, you know. It looks like he's the guy you go to when you have a plumbing problem, or maybe you need some contractor work and he's got a good subcontractor underneath him. These are people that you need in life, you know. But Barry Jones was a good relief pitcher for the White Sox particularly, and the Pirates as well. 2.42 ERA, 2.37 ERA, 2.31 ERA. Of course, back then, things like whip and WAR and all those cool stats, which I really do enjoy in this modern era. I'm not old school when it comes to those kind of stats. They're not reflected on this card here. But Barry, who was born in Indiana, had 11 wins as a relief pitcher for the White Sox in 1990. It's a good career. I would have taken that career. Here's our instant win game. We're not going to win, so we like to rip it up. But back to the back. Bernard Gilkey. In 1991, when I first got this card, I was very overjoyed. Bernard Gilkey was part of the Cardinals' great future at this time. Very good outfielder. He may have gone on to the Mets at some point, I don't know, but this was the beginning of his career. This would have been Bernard Gilkey's rookie card, coming off a 1 home run, 3 RBI, 297 cup of coffee of the 90 Cardinals. The Cardinals were, of course, coming out of the 80s as one of the best teams. World Series, 82? 85, they went deep in the postseason, of course, and then lost to the Royals in the World Series. And let's not forget that in 1987, they lost to the Twins, but they were there going toe-to-toe with the Mets during that era. And Gilkey was going to be one of the players that took them into the next generation. It did not work out that way, but I still have fond memories of Bernard Gilkey in this era. Doug DeCenzo. Love this card. Look at this action. You also got Tim Tuffle almost crying in pain trying to tag him. Kind of the Mets in 1990. We're almost there, but we failed. He was safe. Doug DeCenzo, I think he would play for the Rangers at one point. Good outfielder. But this was a different era where I, as a baseball fan, knew all about the Doug DeCenzos of the world. Nowadays, I don't necessarily know about the Doug DeCenzos of the world. But this is why I love going back and looking at the cards of your youth. Sorry I didn't put this one in bicycle spokes. Could have put it in my car engine, though, I guess. A 1990 record breaker from George Brett. Brett was a veteran at this point, of course. Has a 311 career average. George Brett becomes first player to win batting championships in 3 decades. I think Brett was still in his mid-30s at this point here. But back then, it felt like, look at this, the old man can still play baseball. And it was something special. Batting title in the 70s. He, 1976, the year of my birth, batted .333. Then the famous .390 in 1980 season, almost hitting .400. And then the 1990 season, 10 years later, .329 average. Quite an accomplishment for a great player with one of my favorite swings of all time, the Charlie Lau method. Jim Gantner. Gantner was a great infielder for the Brewers. When I say great, I mean he may have hit 7 home runs in 1 year type of great during that era. Let's check. Oh, he did hit 11 in 1983. He's part of the Harvey's wallbanger era of the Phillies. 0 home runs from 88 to 1990. What a different time. But what I loved about Jim Gantner is what you can kind of see on this card. He played with aviator glasses as if he was a rock and roll band's tour manager. telling them, no, we're going to make your tour run smooth and going to get you on that cover of the Rolling Stone. Classic player. Curt Young. Curt Young of the Oakland Athletics. I played a few teams here, but anyone who played for the A's in this era, the 1990, 88 to 89, 90, 91 teams, I considered a top-notch player, whether they were or not. I think Young was had a great career for a player at that time. I mean, he was a double-digit winner as a pitcher for the A's there, and was part of what made them so good. Just a deep, deep rotation there. Look at that. He had a great month of July in 1990. Where were you in 1990 when Curt Young was dealing? Eric Davis, another Eric Davis card. We get them a lot around here, and it's a good thing. One of my favorite players of this era, one of the most dynamic and dynamite players in this era. Not the great card for Eric in that era, though. An action pose would have been great. Instead, you got the school picture in spring training, a file photo that they've used here. He was coming off a pretty good season, 24 home runs, 86 RBIs, batted 260. Couple years removed from his big 87 season. A lot of stolen bases. I love this. Eric pilfered 33 consecutive stolen bases in 1988. Love that word, pilfered. Great player. Bill Long. I think he did pitch for the White Sox at one point, but here he is as a Cubby. Good relief pitcher. Yeah, actually there he is. Several years with the White Sox. I know my middle relief pitchers from the 80s. Two of Bill's first big league wins were shutouts. He did start. He started 23 games in 1987. So not just a middle relief pitcher. My apologies to you, Bill Long. Mike Gallego. Talking about the A's of that era. I consider this guy one of the best of the era, right? That's what my memory tells me. Statistically, not so much the truth, but he was a great defender, solid player. I mean, look, he 3 home runs, 34 RBIs, 206 average, and he essentially was the starting second baseman for the A's in their dynasty era there. Again, we keep saying different time. It doesn't mean the old days are better or the new days are worse or vice versa. But Mike Gallego would be expected to hit about 40 home runs these days as a second baseman. Mike Jeffcoat, Rangers. I considered Mike a up-and-comer at this point, part of the next generation of early 90s superstars. It's a little bit unfair of me. He'd been playing since 83, but I liked Mike Jeffcoat. I thought he was going to be one of the players that would help Nolan Ryan get some big wins with the Rangers there. Did play for the Giants in 85. Oh, look at that. Roberto Alomar, future Hall of Famer. Three years in, first 5 RBI Major League game came in 1989. Of course, he would find great success shortly after this season with the Toronto Blue Jays. Again, I'll say this is a good action pose, but it's the pregame warm-ups. Like you couldn't get a game, second inning shot of Roberto. All right, I saw it, but I didn't want to react to it yet. One of my favorites of any era. If Roberto Alomar is a Hall of Famer, I get why. Not taken away from him. I am a believer that Donnie Baseball, when you look at his 5 or 6 years on the top, statistically, he is up there 1 or 2 in most of the major stats, including the deep stats that we net track now. I believe he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Will he get there? Probably not. Is it my Yankee bias? Absolutely. Donnie Baseball. But at this era, though, this is a 91 Topps. We're coming off that injury-plagued 1990 season. We're only getting 102 games, 394 at-bats, 5 home runs. The end was nigh for Donnie Baseball at this time. All eyes were looking on Kevin Moss during this point in the Yankee era, and well, that didn't go well for us. But a great card. When I talk about action shots, look at the composition here. The line. Love this card. Mark Kubazal, Royals pitcher. This is a well-designed card. Awkward, a Looks like me trying to get up from my bed every morning, including the arm and the baseball glove. Gubicza, 20-game winner for the Royals, one of the best of this era. Had a long career. I think he's still calling games with the Angels. I've actually seen him in person. Yay, celebrity sighting? Yeah, he used to come to the mall I used to work at a lot. He lived up there in the northern part of the San Fernando Valley. Mark Gubicza. I think this is a name that taught me how to pronounce weird names when I was a kid. 20-game winner in 1988. Played for the 85 Royals that was the World Series winner with Brett Saberhagen leading the way. Final card in the pack today, Chris Bosio. That's right, Bosio. You might say Bozio, but it's Bosio. He played for the Mariners, but I do love this classic Brewers look there. He's one of those pitchers that, again, he and that mustache not going into the Hall of Fame. Well, if there's a mustache Hall of Fame, he might be a veteran selection. But a classic look there, classic baseball look. Chris Bosio, long career, 15-game winner for the Brewers in 1989. And, you know, let me tell you something. That was hard to accomplish with the Brewers in 1989. Bosio rounding out our pack. Well, there you have it. A look at this 1991 pack of Topps. None of these cards going to send you to college or pay off your debts later on in life like we all maybe thought they were in 1991. But that is a fun pack of baseball cards. And thanks for watching another edition of Sports Card ASMR.